Hello, my friends. Nick Libretti here for JR Cigars. Time for another fantastic top 5 video. Today we're going to take a little trip to 5 different countries around the world where we're going to examine where are the prime locations for growing cigar tobacco. Now, cigar tobacco is in fact grown in many more than just 5 countries, but I think the 5 we're going to discuss today provide not only the majority of cigar tobacco, but also the most highly sought after tobacco. This list is in no particular order, so it's not level of importance or even personal preference, but let's take a look at the 5 best countries for growing cigar tobacco. First, we're just going to start with Cuba because I think that's probably the first country that comes to everybody's mind. What makes Cuba so unique is its soil. The environment plays such a big part in all of these countries and how they grow their tobacco. The soil is very unique in Cuba. You can find similarities in some of the other countries we're going to discuss, but nothing ever tastes quite like the tobacco you get in Cuba. It's got a high nitrogen content, so it's rich in nutrients. It has a very particular color, and it gives it a very unique flavor. And if you notice, a lot of the cigars that come out of Cuba, for those of you who are lucky enough to have tried it, it's usually never very, very strong or very, very mellow. It's usually this nice medium body, complex. You got to remember, it's a small island, so they don't have the kind of diverse locations you're going to see in some of the other countries, but still, it's going to provide you a very unique smoking experience. Next, we have the Dominican Republic. This was the kind of king of the premium cigar industry when I first entered the business about 15 years ago, and it's still one of the biggest producers of premium cigars in the world. Companies such like Altadis USA, Arturo Fuente, La Flor Dominicana, even General Cigar, Davidoff are all based out of the DR. The DR is known a lot for their filler and binder tobaccos. It's going to give you this nice mellow to medium nuttiness, again, depending on the variety that you so choose. One of the things that the Dominican is not really well known for is its wrapper. It's just not the best environment, and it doesn't have the best kind of tradition with growing wrapper, but the wrapper it has grown, particularly on the Fuente Opus X, is some of the most remarkable in the world. But if you're looking for that truly smooth, classic, mellow cigar, the DR is probably making the cigar for you. Up next is Nicaragua. Nicaragua has now, for the past few years, reigned supreme over the premium cigar industry, particularly in the U.S. Almost all of the new companies are coming out of Nicaragua. Everything from your traditional older ones like Plasencia, Oliva, Padron, Joya de Nicaragua, to your new kind of more boutique Roma Crafts or HVC, all set up shop in Nicaragua. What makes Nicaragua so special is that even though it's not, a country the size of the U.S., it has several diverse growing regions, from Yalapa to Esteli to Ometepe to Condega. Each one of those areas, even though they're within a few miles of each other, they're going to provide you something a little bit different. And the heavy nitrogen and the volcanic soil that's kind of, popular throughout Nicaragua adds an extra element of flavor to it as well. So you can get something that's very nice and sweet coming out of Yalapa, or something that's a little bolder and richer coming out of Ometepe. Nicaragua provides all of this. Filler, binder, and wrappers are becoming very prevalent there as well. So it's just kind of this all-in-one area, which is what's making it so popular. Next up is Honduras, a country that I feel like a lot of people kind of overlook when you're talking about these major nations, but it really is not only has been, but will continue to be a major player in the industry. I had the pleasure of visiting the Camacho facility earlier this year and was truly blown away by what they're able to do there, particularly the Honduran Corojo tobacco, and now you're seeing them kind of play around with different seed varietals like a Honduran broadleaf version. And if you look on the map, the area of Danlí, Honduras, where a lot of the Honduran companies, such as Rocky Patel, Camacho, or even our own Altadis Flor de Copan factory, it's actually situated relatively close to the border of Nicaragua, where a lot of the Nicaraguan fields are. So you're getting a similar kind of environmental, aspects there, but still providing its own unique flavors and characteristics. Honduras produces some of the best and some of the most widely sought after cigars in the world, and I think it's really a country more people should pay attention to. So before I get to our last one, I do want to have some honorable mentions, namely Ecuador for the growing of basically almost all of the wrapper we use now. There's Connecticut Ecuadorian, there's Corojo, they're even fooling around with some other, Sumatras and stuff. But because there's no real factories there, and also because it's primarily just wrapper, it's still very, very, very important. So that's why it gets an honorable mention. Also, Cameroon in Africa for the unique Cameroon wrapper also gets an honorable mention. As well does Brazil and Mexico. But lastly, I'm going to add our fifth, best cigar tobacco producing nation as the USA. Connecticut has been instrumental in the growth of the premium cigar industry. The Connecticut wrapper was the one that was really first utilized in mass following the Cuban, what the hell is the term I'm looking for? Following the Cuban embargo. Let me start that over again. So the last country we're going to talk about is the good old US of A. Right here, that's right, we produce some of the most important and sought-after tobaccos in the world, starting in Connecticut. Connecticut was very instrumental in kind of the premium cigar boom that we've seen since the late 1980s, early 1990s. That nice, smooth, mellow Connecticut shade wrapper was really the first big wrapper used after the Cuban embargo. It really helped modernize and premiumize the industry after Cuban cigars were no longer allowed to be sold here. Smooth, creamy, mellow. If you think of some of the most popular luxury cigars of today, Davidoff, Monte Cristo, a lot of them are using that Connecticut shade wrapper. Plus you have Connecticut broadleaf, which is prevalent everywhere from Arturo Fuente to Foundation and Dumbarton. That rich, heavy Maduro. And then you have to look at some of the newer areas that are producing tobacco, particularly Pennsylvania having a broadleaf, Florida getting into some sun-grown tobaccos, and then even those unique ones out of Kentucky for like the Kentucky Fire Cured. America is rapidly becoming a major player in the cigar tobacco game, and I look forward to what they're going to be producing in the future. Well, there you have it, my friends. Thank you very much for watching. Put in the comments, what are some of your thoughts on this list of the top cigar tobacco producing nations? Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, keep it lit.